Hey everybody, Movie Review Next Door here, and I'm back with another movie review. This time I'm reviewing Saw 4. This is a horror thriller film from 2007, directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, yet again, and it stars Tobin Bell, Costas Mandylor, Scott Patterson, Betsy Russell, Lyrique Bent, Athena Karkanis, and Donnie Wahlberg. In this film, Jigsaw and his apprentice Amanda are dead. Now, upon the news of Detective Carey's murder, two seasoned FBI profilers, Agent Strom and Agent Perez, arrive in the terrified community to assist the veteran Detective Hoffman in sifting through Jigsaw's latest grisly remains and piecing together the puzzle. However, when SWAT Commander Rigg is abducted and thrust into a game, the last officer untouched by Jigsaw has but 90 minutes to overcome a series of demented traps and save an old friend or face the deadly consequences. So, what do I think of Saw 4? Um, Meh. It's not that the entire film is a 6 out of 10. It's kind of a Parasite situation here, where I thought like half of the film was an 8 out of 10 and the other half was a 4. Like the main plot, I guess, of Riggs' character, like Lyric Bent's character, was the most interesting to me, the most enjoyable, the most that really felt like Saw to me. And the part with the detective or Agent Strom and Agent Perez just felt kind of, it just felt kind of tacked on in a way. A lot of the stuff that happened in those scenes didn't make a lot of sense. It wasn't very well done. I wasn't big on some of the actors, but I guess I'll get into the actors first. Tobin Bell plays John Kramer, Jigsaw. He does a great job as usual. He's mostly in flashbacks because in the context of the universe, he is dead. Um, but he still does a great job. He still brings full life to this character. Costas Mandylor plays Mark Hoffman. He does a decent job. He doesn't have a lot of acting to do in this one. He becomes a way bigger character in 5, 6, and 7. Um, Scott Patterson as Agent Strom, I did have some issues with his acting. He has moments where I think he's good, but it's kind of half and half. Same with Betsy Russell as Jill Tuck. I've seen Betsy Russell in other films. I saw her in Avenging Angel and I thought she was all right there. And I think I saw, well, I guess the other movies I know her from are in this series. But yeah, it's her acting for the most part is all right, but there are moments where she tries to be, I guess, kind of sassy and it doesn't work. But her, the scenes that do work 100% with her are the ones between her and Tobin Bell because I think she has Tobin Bell to act off of, and Tobin Bell seems like a really cool guy that is very naturalistic. So I feel like she could get into those scenes a bit more than the ones with the agents. Um, Lyric Bent plays Rig. He does a really damn good job. He does. And I don't know much about him. Uh, Apparently he's predominantly an actor. I thought he was a rapper. He's been in other Dan Lynn Bousman films. He was in Mother's Day. Um, but yeah, like I think he did a pretty good job. He felt into the character. Uh, but yeah, Athena Karkanis as Agent Perez. I've seen her in films before. She was in Art of War 2. She was in the show Manifest that's on Netflix. I think she's a pretty decent actress. She's not given a lot to do in this film and in this series for that matter. She was also in Survival of the Dead. She plays the lesbian character who was whatever. Um, and Donnie Wahlberg as Eric Matthews is completely wasted in this film. And I guess I can get into my issues with I still do have issues with the Rig storyline in this film. One of those is that Eric Matthews is still alive. And I have to get into spoilers. So this is gonna be another spoiler review. Um, Eric Matthews is still alive. The detective from Saw 2, whose son was in the game, and Jigsaw tricked him into thinking, "Oh, you don't have to wait until your son gets out of the safe. So now you're part of these traps, I guess." Um, and then in the third one, he's only there for what, 2 minutes? Like in the third one, you have this whole opening where he breaks his foot and everything to get it out of the restraints, and then he has a fight with Amanda, and then gets another door closed in his face. And in this one, it's revealed that he's been alive this entire time and just kept in like basically a prison cell. And I hate how they do this character. I hate what they did to Carrie as well because they could have like, I don't know, added some character to her before killing her off. And the whole thing that makes I don't feel worse about Carrie's because she was a bit less of a character. I grew to actually, understand Detective Matthews, and I was like, oh, maybe he can become a better person. Nope, he's just in these traps just to die. And this film has a similar issue to the last one where it feels like, oh, they just want to kill everybody off. But in this film, a lot of the people who die are terrible people. There's this one guy, there's this one woman who's like, uh, I guess they insinuate that she's like a female pimp and she's pimping out underage girls. I think that's what they're getting at. They didn't really specify. Maybe it was just that she's a prostitute. If it was just prostitute, maybe not, but it, the girls in the pictures that they showed that it was like, oh, she's like getting this one girl into a car. Maybe she's an abductor. I don't. Maybe she works in human trafficking. I don't fucking know. There's her. There's this other guy who's a fat piece of shit who just basically turns out he like abuses and rapes women. There's this one couple where it's like it's an abused housewife not standing up for her daughter because the daughter is getting hurt by the husband as well as her. And I love this scene. I love the trap scenes in this movie because in the last film, I know a lot of people will say these movies are torture porn. I can see that for the third one. The third one, it felt like there was no way for them to be winnable for the most part. And the people that died outside of the traps were for the dumbest fucking reasons and really shitty character motivations. Saw 3 is still horribly written, in my opinion. I think it's a horribly written piece of shit film. But in this film, you have like the traps, like the first trap. It's like the scalping trap. He has to choose to let her die for her actions, or save her and put her away in prison. And like, it's very interesting what this film does with the traps. Finally, the traps have like a bit more meaning to them. In Saw 2, they kind of did too. And there were some stupid character decisions in Saw 2, don't get me wrong. But Saw 2 flowed a lot better. Saw 3 did not. Saw 3 did not need to be 2 fucking hours. This film gets it in 90 minutes without credits, done. It it gives you what you need in the Lyric Bent storyline. I'll get to the other one. And you get what you should get in a Saw film. You get interesting traps, some gratifying payoffs. And I'm not just saying the gore. That there are some really fucking good scenes in this movie. Like, and I just wish that the other part of the story was a bit more interesting because, to be honest, it was very boring to me. The scene with the abused housewife and the abusive husband is really fucking good. where they have these like spikes through them, and the spikes on the woman are through like non-fatal parts of her body that will still bleed, but she'll be able to get to a hospital. And in his body, the it's like turned to a point where it will make him bleed out. Like one of them is like in her chest, and then it leads up to his neck, and she has to decide to get rid of him and leave the abusive relationship because there is no chance of him surviving if she fucking does it. And I loved that. I loved it. I was like, holy shit, this is like, there's meaning to these traps. In the last film, it felt more like the people weren't, nobody was meant to win any of them. And that's probably why no one in Saw 3 won any of them. And also, I mean spoilers for the other movies because if you're watching the Saw 4 review that I'm doing, you'll know that I already did a spoiler review for Saw 3. I'm sorry if you don't know how to read, but I warned you. But like this film adds meaning to the traps feel more they feel like they have a purpose. And the twist being that this film takes place at around the same time as the third film really does give it a bit more weight, I guess, because it's still Jigsaw doing these traps. And there are still traps in the later movies that do this, where they are winnable, 100%. Oh, sorry about that. But it's just that this film really shows me like, oh yeah, they know what they're doing with the story now, at at least in some respects. And Lyric Bent again does still a really good job. I wish he was in more things. And the ending was actually well done this time. In the last film, it was not. It felt like a downer just to be a downer ending. In this one, the downer ending makes sense. Um, what I don't like about this movie, though, are the cop scenes. Now, I remember the cop scenes in the first, second, and first, second, and third not being that bad. I don't. They weren't that bad. The second film, yes, it kind of feels like a police procedural TV show, but that's fine. That is doable. I'm fine with that because that's the whole point. Is there's an ongoing investigation into the Jigsaw killer. But here, the investigative characters just are very one-dimensional. It's very because you have Perez and Strom. Strom is always like, "Oh yeah, this person might be the killer," and then Perez is like, "Well, maybe you have to look into his meaning." And that's all their characters are. And then Perez gets hurt. Perez gets injured almost to death. Um, and the most that really happens in their plot or their part of the plot is like they find out where one of the buildings is by the end, and then spoilers again for Saw 3. After all of the shit goes down at the end of Saw 3 that pissed me the fuck off, there was a tape that told Agent Strom he would kill an innocent man by the end of the day, and he ends up killing Jeff, which I didn't give a shit about Jeff because of how they wrote him. Again, Angus McFadden is a great actor. He did a good job acting in the film. It's just that he was given a shitty character, so he became unlikable for me. And well, yeah, Strom guns him down, and then gets locked in the room. And yeah, it just felt very forced, like they didn't know what to do with the Jeff character, so they just killed him off. They brought back Angus McFadden to shoot more scenes just to kill him off. almost like Saw 3 was pointless. You know, a pointless 2 hours I wasted. Uh, but yeah, and you also have the thing with Jill Tuck again, where she reveals all this shit. Again, I don't mind the stuff with Jill Tuck. I don't mind her as a character. It's just that Betsy Russell is not the best actress. She does fine in the scene. She does a good job in the scenes with Tobin Bell. I think that's mostly due to him being easy to work off of. It's like an Aaron Paul thing because I don't think Aaron Paul is a very good actor when he's in films with other people usually, especially not in things where he has to act by himself, like most of Come and Find Me. And people saying like he's amazing in Breaking Bad. The only reason people think he's great in Breaking Bad is because he has Bryan Cranston to work off of. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. But I feel that way about Betsy Russell because in Avenging Angel, she had the actress that played Solly to work off of and all these other people. And when she's forced to act against type, which is what she becomes in Saw 5, 6, and 7, that's when you start having issues. But overall, this film is just kind of it's just kind of in the middle. I like it more than Saw 3. That's for damn sure. But again, I don't like it as much as Saw 2 and 1. Um but yeah, that was my review of Saw 4. Hope y'all enjoyed the review. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever, and movie review next door out.